Well, I can always intro us here. This is section 1B of the Qadida Spy vs. Spy. We don't have an official name for it. Campaign. This group is the Worshipful group. The one that would be a more typical group of miners. Session 1A, which was a few days ago, was the think of them like the Rebel Alliance Resistance kind of group. We're in opposition to one another. Both groups ostensibly don't know what the other group is doing, and so this is our group's first session. And then following this, there will be like one more session of each, and then big cool thing where we all meet each other and then murder each other, but not in real life. Just in the game.
Well said. Yeah, Ian. So Ian. Do you want to offer a recap, or do you want Aaron or me to do that? Because I think you're about to take off on a plane, right?
That jipe is perfect.
Great. So if we're ready, maybe we could do. Actually, the audience here, everyone should know what happened last time. If you want, you can watch on YouTube episode 1. However, that was a different team. So actually, this team should not know what happened. So the recap has actually been completely redacted. However, if you want to, you can go to YouTube/@Stillfleet and watch episode 1. This is episode 2, Worshipful Qadida. Episode 1, Free Qadida, will set up whatever was happening in Free Qadida. And Ian Derk, the author of Qadida, was the GM there. So today we have Aaron H. GMing Worshipful Qadida, the first going. And yeah, let's Aaron, why don't you just take it away and kick us off?
All right. So you all were summoned into Refactor Pethin's office. She's not there yet, but you're all seated there. And who are you? Like, let's do a really quick intro. Whoever wants to go first, alphabetical order, whatever you want to do it.
Character alphabetical order?
Oh God. Let's do human alphabetical order. So Kelly, you would be first.
That actually is me. It never happens. Okay. So my character's name is Ateramis, or Terry, Fran Japan, and she is a Gelasti scrubber. With a little bit of something else mixed in there too. But a scrubber is basically a fixer, just trying to smooth over anything that might happen in a venture. So a Gelasti is also a salamander creature, and she's got kind of this like purple gray skin with like lilac spots. And she's wearing a like denim jacket with fluffy fur on it, which is very weird on a lizard. And she's also wearing these like really big black boots.
Are they duck boots?
They're not duck boots, but they're like chunky black with yellow stitching. I think they're called like Doc Marcus's. And she was summoned today to try and I think there was something to do with moving something across the span, but she's not really sure. She's just like, okay, I have to get in here.
What was Terry doing this morning before coming into the?
So she actually, before she goes anywhere, she has these spikes on the ridges above her eyes, and she was delicately applying additional spikes on there because she just likes the way that it looks.
Brilliant. Does Terry know any of the other people present? Yes,
Terry knows Leo's character. If you would like to introduce yourself.
Oh, great segue. Nice work.
Thank you.
This is why we hire the best of the best for these streams.
My character is a Waiton, so an insectoid person, like somewhere between a locust and a mantis. humanoid. He is named Wilted Shriek Collector, and he is very metal looking. He is a spiky thing with glowing red eyes, really, really tall, very angular, not necessarily healthily thin looking.
Like wayfish, like really, really skinny.
I have a reference, but that's a spoiler to something. But he's just tall and angular. He looks menacing, and he moves in a sort of weird way that's not helped by the fact that he speaks like this because the blood has destroyed his vocal abilities. So he has an implant.
I was gonna make the joke.
So he has, and he smells faintly of iron all the time,
Okay.
constantly. So yeah, that's my dude.
What's
He is
what's your class? What is WSC's class?
he is a blooder, so he is addicted to / inhabited by a colony of nanobots
Okay.
that destroyed his vocal cords on the way down, but gave him a bunch of cool shit.
What was Wilt the Treat Collector doing this morning before coming in?
He spent most of the morning completely still staring at this dull red glowing frostwood bonsai thing. That is the only thing he has from before the blood clean slated his brains. With a previous appearance at yoga class to humor Terry, and basically astonishing everybody with how something that's all hard edges and chitinous plate could be so flexible, almost as if there were no bones in there. Which technically there aren't, but the plates still should interfere more with each other.
No thoughts, just vibes, just blood vibes. How about you, Rachel? Tell us about your character.
Yes, hello. So my character's name is, well, her full name is Rel Marsh Rel Stacks. So she goes by either Rel, or I imagine since we're spies, we probably do last names as well. So maybe she just goes by Stacks to some people. And she is, who knows? So she is a Fex cherub. So Fex means that her species is, she is like a kind of raccoon person type alien. She is 3.5 feet tall because Fex tend to be about 4 feet. So even for one of those, she's small. And Cherub is my class, which is basically a saboteur and demolitions expert. So she's very good with like technical things and breaking those technical things and making things explode. So she wears like a boiler suit that's like human sized that she's modified down. So like into like a dress. So basically she's like restitched it. The top half looks like a boiler suit. The bottom half is this puffy kind of skirt, which is hiding all of these like combat pockets and stuff, which are full of gizmos and stuff underneath there as well. And she wears a pair of goggles as well, which is like a tool for her work, either on the top of her head or like slung around her neck.
What about how do you know the other two? Do you know the other two?
I think all we've established so far is that we might have worked together, but that both of them have come to my marsh medicine classes at some point.
Wait, can you very quickly explain the marsh medicine?
Yeah, so that's what I was doing this morning. So that answers that question
Perfect.
as well. Being a Fex, she wasn't born on Qadida. No, sorry, her parents weren't born on Qadida, but she was born on Qadida, and so she has brought one of her cultural things, which is called the marsh medicine, which is from the description a dance-based healing art. So I think of it kind of like a cross between like yoga, tai chi, and like break dancing. So that's how I imagine they do it. Like if you're good at it, like if you're skilled at it, then you can use it to heal other people. But she's a war veteran and she works with other war veterans. So I think this is a kind of like healing art that she teaches to others to try and help them with their mental health and stuff. So I think you can get, those more minor benefits out of it, even if you're an amateur.
Ellie, you and I are on the same wavelength, clearly.
I love her.
Awesome.
I like to imagine that during the class, my guy is trying to learn the thing that is essentially a healing practice, but he just looks like he's slowly inching toward the next person to just eat them very slowly.
And from downward facing dog, go into eat your neighbor. So while you're all sitting here on these austere but not uncomfortable chairs in your refactor Pethin's office, Pethin walks in. Pethin is a Gelasti, so she's very similar looking to Terry, but maybe I don't mean this as a slight, but more professional looking.
That's correct.
Okay. Like she has the fleeter equivalent of like pantsuit, kind of like she's very well put together. If she had hair, it would be neatly coiffed. Maybe her ganglia are like arranged nicely. She walks in, strictly business, sits down in front of you and says, "Good morning. I've gathered you here today. We have a important mission that is very time sensitive and must be executed discreetly and with expediency. We've received reports from Qadida, and I know that Rel, you obviously know Qadida because you live there. Do the other two of you, have you been to Qadida before?"
Yes.
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 Okay, so
Probably pulling some up together.
Great. So if you already, yeah, that's right. Terry would definitely know Qadida.
She knows Qadida very well. She moves things from side to side.
Right. Okay. So you've all been gathered here today because of your expertise and familiarity with Qadida. This is a delicate matter. We've received words from sources that there is a political leader, very charismatic populist. She says that almost with like a derisive sneer. Like, who has time for this? Named Yellow Tent Shaver, who is working to organize a peaceful social order and legitimacy to free Qadida. And similar sneer with free Qadida. Yes, thank you. We need him to be removed. He is planning on making an announcement in a couple for a sort of plea to encourage a stronger economic relationship with the Worshipful Co. And we're concerned that obviously we wouldn't want to do this. We wouldn't want to legitimize free Qadida any more than possible. But we also don't want to decline the bad guys because we're not. And so we just need this problem to be solved. So your primary mission, what the code needs from you is to prevent the speech from happening. We need to prevent this whole chain of events from beginning, ideally stopping it forever, in whatever manner you see fit. If you are incapable or unable to terminate Yellow Tent Shaver yourselves, we have our own spin wraiths that can assist you with this. There is a black site or a place you don't know about that where they can receive him and then take care of it for you. She hands one of you. Let's see, who would be the highest ranking person of the three of you? We don't have a banshee or a factor. I I guess she just sets it on the table because she kind of like glances between all of you and isn't really sure who the boss is. So just set it on the table. It's a small little, roughly the size of like a car key dongle, roughly that big. It has a single button on it, and it's hidden behind like a little plastic or clear bend shield. And she says, when you push this, a detachment of spin wraiths will contact you and tell you where to go and to deliver yellow tender. Do not press this unless you're ready. It only works once. So should you need this, you can. Don't trifle with the spin wraiths. They are more serious than I am. She does chuckle with that.
I probably do a little bit of laughing along, and it's very odd because it's a ha 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 ha, but the mandibles are clacking rapidly, almost in a stridulating sound, and doesn't make a move to reach for the thing, just twists the head to look at Terry. Probably best that you keep it. I do my own snipping. Click, click, click.
Rachel asked for clarification about the spin rates. Yes, they would be similar to closer to the CIA. I'll go over the different factions here in a moment because this will be. Go ahead, Kelly.
So Terry taking that is like, well, all right, and takes it and puts it in her jacket in like an interior pocket. You don't know where things are in there. It's fine.
So Pethan, you would know, she is the acting director of the Night Watch, which is sort of like, I don't want to call them the Worshipful Co FBI, but like that's, in terms of flavor, that's probably closer. Like they're a bit more like above board, open, transparent, and just kind of just doing general law enforcement against like existential threats against the Co. So they're sort of like the Co's like hired security, whereas the spin rates are like they do the stuff that needs to be done that maybe we don't want. So yes, they'd be closer to like the CIA. There's a known counterpart to the Night Watch, the Free Qadida side, called Day Watch. You don't know much about it other than that it exists. Pethan hands you a map of the known Qadida. I don't know if this is showing up on the stream or not, but I know you all can see it. So a really quick overview of Qadida for those of you who didn't show. Qadida is a dome city. It is on a very small, dense rock that is like largely osmium, which is an extremely dense metal, similar to platinum, but otherwise very, very dense. And it's divided into two halves. There is the Worshipful Qadida side, and and then there's the Free Qadida side. Free Qadida is a liberated state that, after a period of conflict, like achieved its own sovereignty and recognition of the Co as ostensibly liberated. But like there's still a lot of tension between the two and a lot of distrust. There is a single tram that goes back and forth. The whole settlement is divided by called the span, which goes from like it fully bisects the dome. The span is sort of a DMZ, the military zone, and is just, let's just say, it's dangerous. I'm not going to go into more detail. Try to cross it. So the safest way across is through the tram, but obviously there's checkpoints on both sides. This is an area or an environment of high mistrust or lack of trust. Think like any kind of militarized state, Cold War, that kind of thing. And then on the Worshipful Qadida side, the Stiffworks will lead you into the administrative quarter, which is where all of the like main government offices and detachments are. There's also a Little Spindle, which is it's probably the more cosmopolitan district on the Worshipful Qadida side, it's meant to look like Spin, those who are like fleeters and those who are more comfortable with Spin. And then there's the Fallen Quarter, which is provincial side, where like the regular run-of-the-mill Qadidans who are like not WCF employees. I think maybe like a town or a city in North Korea, but that isn't like the capital or one of the high government regions. Okay. So with that, Pethin asks if you have any more questions about what you need to do or about the mission.
Yeah, I want to ask, is there anything else you can tell us about this yellow tent shaver? Like, is there any kind of dossier about this person? Do we know where they tend to go? Anything, like any other information that you can share?
We don't know where Yellow Tent Shaver lives. We do know that our sources have said that the speech we're trying to interrupt is scheduled to happen in 2 days, and it's going to happen at Kentura Station, which is on the Free Qadida side. Out of character, someone, I forget if it was Ben or Ian or someone, called Yellow Tent Shaver Barack Obugma, and like that's the kind of vibes you should think here is like a very popular, like effectively like centrist / maybe like neoliberal candidate who is seeking unity, and the co is not about that. We like to be in control of things, so
is there any kind of racial sentiment regarding Waitons that goes into the analogy, or no?
I don't think so. I don't think there's any. I mean, like the co is friend to human and no life. So I don't think that's really a factor. It's really like pretty much all political and largely economic.
Okay, dokie.
You would probably know this, that the co would know this, that Free Qadida has been trying to establish its own currency called regettes. It's a closed currency. Ian can speak on this with far more detail than I can, but I'll tell you all about osmium. But effectively, like, it's their own private currency. He gave the analogy of it being like when you buy in-game currency with real dollars, like for a video game. It's similar to that. The regettes is like only used within Free Qadida. So it's different. Like your Void Guilders, if you were to go to a vendor in Free Qadida, yes, just like Robux, exactly. If you were to go to Free Qadida, your Void Guilders may or may not be adopted. You would probably have to get them exchanged first. And lastly, Yellow Tent Shaver is the Free Workers Commandant for foreign exchange within the Workers Bureaucratic Party for the People of Free Qadida. Only telling you that I'm just going to put that in the chat here.
I was gonna say.
There you go. I'm just mentioning that because there are a lot of groups and organizations on Qadida, and if you were to ask questions, those might be some names. Oh yeah, Gorbugchov. Yes, that's right. Okay. I think if that's all the questions you have, you can go to, I believe it's the near base. Go to this location, and she like sends you a pin drop of where to go in for this. And good luck.
Thank you. We're gonna head down, I take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Stiffworks is this one is a little bit different than a typical one because it has guards posted outside of it. There's like two. They appear like they might be still riders, but it's a little hard to tell because their armor is like color coordinated. and there's almost like a human cage around it, as if to as if they're expecting some kind of incursion onto Spin, which I think is maybe like a perhaps a bit of hubris on the part of the co. But I guess also a little bit of paranoia. There is a banshee there waiting for you, who will attack you in, and you've been instructed that there's a banshee on the other side, at the other side of the secured stiffworks that will attack you back. The process of going through the stiffworks is just like normal. The only difference is that as you're passing through, you can hear like the faintest sound of like a very strong male choir with like a lot of brass instruments and almost like a march sound as you're going through. Something about Worshipful Qadida and the co. And you emerge into a well-appointed office building inside of a similar man cage, with guards, although there are a few more guards on this side.
As soon as we get through onto the other side, I turn to the rest of my party and I'm like, we should have asked maybe if there was like an initial place we were meant to go, or have we just been set loose in the entire city now?
So you're greeted with a handler, and the first thing you ask you is, do you all have papers? You will need papers.
I reach under my skirt and into one of my trouser pockets and pull out my papers, which are probably folded, because they're folded so small to fit in my pocket. Like it's just like a thick like wad of paper that I have to like. But yes, I pass it across, and my papers should be in order.
Are your, so like out of character, are your papers proper in order?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
I'm a 4.
You're full legit. Kelly, how about Terry? What's Terry's paper?
Terry's papers are like absolutely immaculate. They are fully clean papers. There are like additional packets of paper that might not be as appropriate, or they might not be like as clean, but she does present the actual paperwork.
Okay. And Leo, how about WSC?
Having come here to work before, I'm assuming I do have some papers. I've done work with Terry.
Can you roll me?
And I think as a blooder, the company likes to know where I am at most times.
If you haven't already, I need you to roll me a D3 for papers.
All right, 1 second.
Roll a papers check,
2.
please.
A 2? Okay. I believe those are good forgeries, but let's double check. You'll need to have, because you're a blooder, how obvious is it that you're a blooder?
I smell faintly of iron, and I look like I do.
I'd say it's
Like,
like
I am not to my benefit. I am not a sleeper. I am of no obvious Tefnian heritage. I am a very metal bug man. So that might throw some people off because it's a bit unusual.
Okay. So with the roll of a 2, you have an ID and a residency card, but they're matched. I'm gonna say that your blooder status or blooder like authentication documents, are probably dubious. I'm not gonna say they're forged, but maybe they're not the whole truth. So that will affect things as checkpoint, but you would know that. Like you would have, if you've been to Qadida before at least once, you're aware of the checkpoints. So you probably have maybe like habits or tricks that you do to get through these, to move around. Okay, and the other 2 of you with papers, you shouldn't have any problem post checkpoints.
Would neutralizing my smell be helpful?
What if I smelled like a normal guy?
It's a great
Um,
question.
Because the smell is the one thing that really gives it away, and I can
Right.
hold tricks to make me unsmelly.
Mmm.
Yeah. I guess that's really.
perfume tricks.
I don't know. What do you think? Imagine like industrial, like post-industrial era, uh, like city. What kinds of smells would be? I would think maybe if you're outdoors, the smell is probably less noticeable, but if you're indoors, it would become more.
Mhm.
So I'll let you decide how you get that. Um,
Right.
so, you are currently in. You can very clearly see the branding and signage for both company leaders as well as Nightwatch, as well as Worshipful Qadida. It is just like co-branded pretty much everywhere. And we're in the administrative, in the, I'm going to probably to, that would be my guess. That may need to be retconned later. We only just.
You're cutting in and out, Aaron.
Shit.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Okay. How about now?
I think it's good.
No cuts.
Okay. But I'm not sure what happened there. I think maybe my mic turn up the gain a bit. Is that any better? Okay, cool. So yeah, I'm gonna try that. I'd suggest turning off the Discord autocorrect. So if I say fuck, it's gonna say fuck and not duck.
While we're looking at mic stuff, my mic
Yeah.
seems to be being activated even when I'm not saying anything. Are you guys getting anything when I'm unmuted but not speaking?
No, I've been hearing.
It sounds fine to me.
Okay, cool. I can just see that I'm flashing green, and I'm like, I hope I'm not just making a bunch of like scrunching noises or something.
Okay. All right. Is that any better?
It seems good for the moment.
Okay.
Is your mic in the earbuds?
Is my mic? No, my mic is.
I'm asking you, Rachel.
Oh no, I'm using my Yeti mic. I'm just
all right, because
I
when I use those in the earbuds with the cable, sometimes the beard touching it makes it painful.
Oh yeah, the cable moving. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Yeah, no, my mic should be set up and all right. So cool.
Okay, so the building you're in is just co-branded all over the place with Worshipful Company Stillfleeters and Worshipful Qadida, and also the Night Watch. You were in the Night Watch headquarters in the administrative quarter. It's a kind of an attachment to that building.
So have we ever met this handler before? Like, are they just basically there to see our papers and then send us on our way, or?
This is just a random person. You have not met them previously.
Right.
Hold on, I will get you. If you want another name, I'll get you. 1 second.
I mean, unless we're going to harass them for information or something, I think we're probably fine.
Their name is Legong Jux.
Cool.
They're humanoid, but you can't tell otherwise than that.
Gotcha. I think that Terry actually has like a storehouse where she tends to store goods that might not be strictly, 100% above board.
Cool.
And I think that is, where I bundle everyone off and like, okay, I got a place. Let's go.
Cool.
Does that sound good to y'all?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Rel has a house here, but she's not taking work friends there unless it's a very bad situation.
I'm gonna roll, see what time of day it is right now. So I'm doing a 1d4, and say 1 is the first 6 hours, and so. Okay, it is very early morning. Like we'll say 6 a.m. ish. This matters in terms of like lockdown and whether or not the trams are running. the streetcars.
Sure.
As an old person, I'm in my prime right now. Like, I'm an early riser.
You're at your best.
Yeah.
Just had a fresh bowl of prunes.
I go to bed at like
Well,
7 p.m.
Rel gives the vibe of a dude I saw at the calisthenics park today just doing like pistol squats and handstands with a completely gray giant bushy beard. I want to be that guy when I grow up.
So Terry, where's your storehouse? Where are you going for this?
Well, I think that it's probably closer to the Fallen Quarter rather than like Little Spindle, or
Sure.
Definitely not the administrative quarter. What she tends to do is not very sanctioned by the co.
Mhm.
So I think it's best to keep it in the Fallen Quarter and just tutting along.
Yeah. How are you
On the
getting to
way-
how are you getting to the Fallen Quarter? Are you planning on taking a car? Like, you might have to wait a little bit for it, or are you going to walk?
I mean, I don't think any of us are really great at movement, so I think like taking some kind of vehicle is fine with me. I was also going to say, or maybe ask, I might use my power, I always feel like, which is about determining if we're being followed or observed on the way there, just to make sure that we actually get
I
there
would say
in a stealthy way.
because of your experience living in Qadida already, and because you're in the administrative quarter, you don't even have to use the power. You are being constantly observed.
Right.
In the administrative quarter, especially around the Night Watch, I mean, they're not even trying to hide it. There's plenty of cameras you see. I'm sure there's cameras you don't see. There's recording devices you're just under constant and like ubiquitous surveillance.
Okay. And would that then change, presumably, if we, like, as we transition into the Fallen Quarter?
Yes. I mean, it will be less. The coverage will be less dense. I think that you always presume that someone is watching. There are many different factions here in both sides of Qadida, and intel is like a premium, and so there's always people wanting to collect it. So just if you want to use the power again shortly, we can roll for that. But right now, like, you don't feel like someone's always watching you. You know someone's watching you.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So
Okay.
the streetcar will start in about an hour. So you've got an hour to kill if you want to wait for it. And then it would be 15 gil a piece to take the streetcar down to the Fallen Quarter.
Okay.
Do we have any idea how long it would take to walk?
Probably a typical movement person, I would say probably was that 1, 2? It looks to be about maybe 20 blocks to get there. So like an hour and a half, maybe,
Right.
of brisk walking. I would say that it's
Definitely not our best.
Terry is she's such a slow little lizard person. So I think waiting for the tram is probably the best bet.
Okay.
But
My issue with this is that I am incredibly broke. After spending on equipment, I think I have like 14. So just one short. Avoid guilders.
Oh shit. Okay, if you are like worrying about that as we're waiting, then I'm just gonna slide you one guilder because I have 41.
Oh, okay.
I'm wondering if I'm way too tooled up now.
I also only have 4 guilders. But I might see if I could do some like trading.
Okay.
If maybe I could, trade some goods or services, or find a sweet treat and maybe bribe someone to get onto the tram.
I forgot to mention earlier, when you arrived, Jux, your handler, gave you your contract to sign. Presumably you all signed it. This contract has kind of there's a card that goes with it. It's not like a business card. It's a special card with like secret encryption data on it. If you are stopped at all by any of the worshipful, you can provide this. It's not. I'm not going to say it's a get out of jail free card, but it's a like you're on company business card, and depending on what it is you just did that made you get accosted by the secret police, it may or may not get you in trouble. But this is at least the thing. It says like we're here legit. I would not flash it around to get on the tram, for example. But if you were to be caught, setting up.
So do we have one each, or do we have one between us?
You have one for the group.
Right. Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I think I have a question. Would
Sure.
it make sense if we asked the refactor for like money for the mission specifically, like a mission budget, because we might need to say do a little bribing here and there for the tram.
I would say you could ask your handler for like a bus pass to get to your next destination, if the streetcar equivalent of a. If you want to ask for that, they could probably provide you with one to get you your first place. After that, you're kind of going to be on your own. The payment for the mission, but
Cut out again.
Yeah, didn't hear.
Damn. Payment for the mission, standard admission fare, but if you eliminate YT entirely, there will be a substantial bonus. The monetary bonus is triple. There may be additional bonuses if certain other things happen that we can't talk about right now. If you just happen to ensure that they're never going to give the speech, but they're not eliminated, it could be through bribing, exiling, etc. Then it would just be the standard. Did that come through?
Most of it did.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah,
Sorry,
in and out a little bit, but I managed to
Discord.
follow.
I don't know why it's cutting it. Let me see if I can change anything up here.
Yeah, so if I'm seeing Terry like kind of like hustling at the bus stop for a fare, I think just like I guess my first thing is I'll just be like, young people these days are so irresponsible with their guilders. But also, yeah, I guess I've got 41 left after my like loadout and stuff. So like if we want to split it for fares, and then we could also then try and get some of that back by being like, hey, could we have some bus money, please, handler?
I think we got the bus money, so you can probably keep your guilders for the next bus ride.
I'll roll
give me a
charisma
standard.
for it.
Yeah, give me a standard charm roll for the handler to get the streetcar.
Help out
Okay.
working. Wait on out.
Damn.
Okay, that's decent.
Oh, that's rough. Oh man.
Lagong tells you that they're sorry, but it's too early, and the person who dispenses them normally is not in right now.
Of course.
I take it that Lagong doesn't look like they're overtly spiritual or religious.
No.
Okay, cool. Just checking.
there may be less serious looking than Pethan was, but like the Night Watcher, serious folks, strictly business, just the facts. Yeah.
Right. And Terry does look ridiculous. her way of hiding is basically becoming so over the top that you sort of are just like, okay, that's a weirdo, and you lose your attention. somewhere else. That's her version of blending in.
Stealth through ubiquity.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys, I can't believe we've already fallen down at the stumbling block of just getting the bus to our first location.
Your mission. Choose to accept it.
How have we managed this? Does anyone have anything else? Like, other than, like I say, if we need to, we can split my money. But then would I have enough for all of us? No. Yes. Someone do maths, please.
You said you had 41. Leo has 14, and I have 4. We have plenty for the bus.
Okay.
We'll just have very little moving forward. God.
I love the idea of
When I'm done with this, we are going to be loaded.
I turn to you guys and I'm like,
It's
should
fine.
we actually just walk?
Yeah, let's just walk. It's fine.
Okay.
We'll be fine.
Okay. So
Maybe we can walk and try and take quiet, like, alleys and stuff so that we have a chance to maybe chat privately at times on the way or something.
Yeah.
So, to get to the Fallen Quarter, you have to pass through the Heroes Park, which almost circumspects the Administrative Quarter. It's a nice, pleasant park. It's very manufactured. Like this isn't like underdeveloped land. This is a very intentional, created park. While you're walking through it, one of you happens to notice a I'm gonna say that it was Rel, because you grew up in you know what foliage looks like, and you see a tree stump that just appears to be odd. And it's just it's hard to describe, and when you point at it, Terry and WSC don't see what you're talking about when you point at it initially. It just doesn't look right to you.
I think that might be because this is where I teach my marsh medicine classes, right? In a park. Okay. So maybe that's why.
Yeah, it could be.
So you guys, I want to ask them, like, do you guys not see the stump, or does it just look normal to you?
Does it look edible?
I mean, anything's edible if you try hard.
Or a Waitan with very, very powerful mandibles.
Anything is edible if you think about eating it.
Okay, I guess I will.
At ease if I ate the menacing stump.
I want to approach it cautiously, but kind of like not making a big deal of it. Kind of just acting like I kind of like ham up how old I am. Right, I don't look very old. It's just like those graying like tips of the ears, but I kind of ham it up for a minute, and I make like I'm gonna go. I need somewhere to sit down, and I'm going to go and sit down on it. But as I'm approaching, I want to like try and have a look and see, like, why does this feel weird to me?
I definitely want to play along with Rel, and I see what she's going for, and I'd like to use my class power of counter surveillance.
Okay.
And I'll burn 4 grit, and I want to see what's going on, because I trust that Rel notices things.
Okay. Spend the grit and hold that thought, because that will affect something, a roll that you will do shortly.
Okay.
Okay. So, what now, Rel? You've accosted the stump. What will you do?
Well, I want to just kind of investigate it, but without making it seem like I am. So, would I roll will or reason or something maybe for that?
You can give me. I'll let you go with either will or reason. Whichever one you feel. You can pick the higher roll. You can pick that feels right for you. Either one of them would be fine. So if it's will, you're doing a standard like will perceive, and if it is reason, you're doing kind of a like a searching.
I think it's probably reason then, and it might be because it's related to know, right? If I know this area well, then it might be like, okay, what's different?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, cool. Dice Maiden providing. So that's going to be.
Okay, that's actually good enough. This is because of your background. The difficulty was been for someone else, and you find it's almost like a little catch door on the side of the stump, and I think maybe it's either the outline was discolored slightly, or just something about that just caught your eye from a distance. Do you want to open it up?
Yes, but I want to make sure that. So I want to sit down on it and make sure that my skirt is covering it when I open it up.
Sure.
So just feeling around there blindly.
So it doesn't have a handle or anything, but you're able to kind of like dig your claw. Like I'm assuming you have like the equivalent of fingernails, but for effects. You're able to kind of like needle that into there. Yeah. So you can kind of pry the door open, and inside of it is just a very small little cache, and it has a folder with some papers in it. I need you to roll a d4, but because of Kelly's power she used earlier, you can roll it with advantage.
Ooh. Okay. How do I roll with advantage on Dice Maiden?
Just roll 2d4. Yeah, 2d4,
Yeah.
and then take the higher result. Perfect. Oh, I'm so glad you did that. With Terry keeping watch, there's very clearly like observing you, and maybe like some joggers or something passing by, but Terry helps you time it so that you can like kind of quickly pull the folder and then shut the door again from underneath your dress, and then go from there. It's very discreet though. You pulled it off. Good job.
I take it it's not
very fakely, like.
Is what I've pulled out small enough that I could like fit it in one of my like combat trouser pockets, or will I have to like is it too big for that?
It's it's not a full manila folder. It's like a forget the name of it. Like the half-size manila envelopes. You might get like a small certificate.
Oh yeah.
It's like that size. And it's maybe like a few millimeters thick. It's some stuff in it, some paper stuff.
Okay, so I think I want to like I don't know if there's any way to do that stealthily, but like jam it like up the front of my boiler suit.
Yeah,
so it's just sitting there. Yeah,
that would fit there.
If I could, Rel is very good at like twisting herself how she needs to, so she could like pick it up with her toes and like pop it into a pocket.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I love that. Yeah, and then now I think I'm just I want to make a beeline for wherever we're going, because I now want to obviously like open this and talk to the gang about it.
Yeah. You can all find just a regular park bench or something that is like slightly concealed enough that you could have a moment to quickly look through some papers. Inside of, do you want to look inside the envelope?
Yes.
Okay. Inside you find some really, really good quality forged documents. This is you're actually in luck because it happens to be forged documents for a Waiton. And if you wish to use them, Leo, you could have WSC use these in place of your normal documents, and this would give you documents that are effectively on par with what the rest of you has. They're forgeries, but they're very, very good.
That would be really, really nice. Question. Did Rel get everything that was in the stump?
I mean,
did I know that?
Well, I'm gonna say yes. If you would like to go back and look again, you're welcome to, but I'm gonna make you roll again for surveillance.
The reason why I was asking actually might not be that relevant, but it would be cool if you checked and found something. But those things where they're waiting for someone that we presumably have leverage on if we can catch some footage of their face approaching the stump to get the things.
Oh, possibly.
Do we have any good powers for this? I'm checking my equipment.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to turn to Wilted Street Collector and be like, do you have like a fairy godmother that we don't know about or something?
Well, wouldn't that be
Is your
lovely?
mom lazy?
That was incredibly lucky.
Yeah.
I want to say out of character, like this was planned entirely. The dice were just in favor, so
Cool.
Yay.
unfortunately, well.
I have the ability to hold tricks, and I can make some machines my allies, but that might not be useful within the time frame. Does anybody have the ability to just leave a little camera that will snap us pictures of people who open the stump?
That would maybe be like wiretap or something, but I didn't take that. Or like your counter surveillance, maybe?
I think counter
I don't
surveillance.
think I've got anything.
It's basically immediately locate all surveillance devices in a room. You know what it picks up if the devices have already detected us. So basically, it would have just been, is this stump watched? And I think from what Aaron said, it wasn't.
I think that the way I played that out for you was I can't say whether or not it was being watched, but I just said that because you used it, you were able to time a quick steal where you knew that like in that moment you weren't being.
Yeah, it seems like we've got a bunch of abilities for like identifying if we're being watched, but we aren't necessarily good at being the watchers.
Yeah,
From a power standpoint.
honestly, that totally tracks.
A quick reason investigate, and if there is a camera pointing in that general direction, I could make that camera my little friend.
I mean, worth a shot, right?
Yeah, you can roll it if you want.
We're
Alrighty,
paranoid, but unobservant.
Okay, I'm going to burn 4 grit and roll first a reason and then a charisma.
Okay.
All right. 5 for reason.
Okay.
Let's check what it does real quick again. And for charm, that would be 2.
A 2. I'm gonna say that you don't notice anyone observing you. It feels like it feels uncannily calm, and I only say uncannily because, well, I guess maybe for you all, since because you've been in Qadida so long, if you were to be yourselves in the situation, it would feel weird. Like it would feel normal and pleasant, but also like weirdly normal and pleasant. Like there's less tension than there should be. So like
myself correct here. I didn't use the power because we didn't find a camera. So I just failed the check miserably.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
I'll suggest like I think we should just get out of here. Take this gift what it is. We don't want to stick around here and see the person who this is intended for.
Yeah.
Let's roll.
Yeah, that sounds great. So Leo, you can mark on your sheet that you have like pro skill quality documents.
Nice.
They exactly. They would probably be. I'm gonna say that they're sufficient they're equivalent to like if you had rolled a 3, which is an ID, residency card, clean criminal background. It says it's as if they were all are forgeries, but they're just forgeries that are so good they appear authentic. You would not be able to get like a passport or anything with this. Like it wouldn't fool the WCO, but like for any police or anyone within Qadida, like this should work.
All right. Can I make up the name of the weight these documents are for?
Absolutely. Would you like to do it, or I can roll for you?
I just know it starts with Toasty.
Okay, put the name in the chat.
I think I'm gonna do this like an engine arriving on spin and just pick the things that are near me.
Okay.
Which are a dice tray and a mug. So Toasty mug roller.
Excellent. Perfect. Okay, so are you going to head onwards towards the Fallen Quarter?
Yes.
Okay. So it takes you maybe about 40 minutes to get to the edge of the Fallen Quarter. Oh yeah, are you good, Rachel? Oh, hold on. Rachel, it says you're muted right now. Okay.
Erasing made my whole desk shake.
Kelly, is Capone nearby?
A Capone check. He is a potato on the floor.
I find it funny that my dice luck has somehow carried over to this. In my D&D games, it's kind of bizarre the shit I get sometimes, but then the DM was lucky for me. That's great. Let's see if I can match the one time I got 3 crits in a row for sneak attack against a boss. That would be interesting.
Yes. Looks like Rachel is back.
Yeah. Can you unmute Rachel? Are we all good? Okay. Awesome.
Okay, yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes. Perfect.
Yeah, it just automatically switched devices and then it was coming out of my laptop and I was like, oh my god, what's happening? That's fine.
Oh, internet. Okay. So it takes you about 40 minutes to get to the edge of the Fallen Quarter. The change in buildings isn't instantaneous. Like this isn't Tale of Two Cities kind of. It's just sort of a gradation where the quality of the buildings becomes maybe a little more brutalist. Edges are a little sharper, but also more dilapidated. In a few places, you do see buildings that have been like gutted by shellfire or blasts or maybe hell science. Who knows? It's a little less well kept, but at the same time, it also feels more lively. Like there's a much more. It has that savory feeling of like a very present. I'm gonna say like human culture, but it's like humans and Wetans and other species as well. And there's like street vendors and there's like you see kids in the street. You didn't see that in the administrative quarter. It feels like kind of like, oh, nature is healing kind of thing. The world is in rubble, but nature is healing. Terry, you are very familiar. Like you know this, you know exactly where you're at. I'll let you decide how close your storehouse.
It's literally like just inside, where there's enough plausible deniability of like, it's not right on the border, but it's within a few blocks. Populations are going to be like walking around, but it's still well protected and insulated from most other people, you would hope.
Describe. I'm assuming everyone is taking Terry's lead. So Terry, describe for me how you are getting to your storehouse. Like, and when I say how, I don't mean like path or route. I mean like, what's the manner that you're traveling?
The manner is very like straightforward. Again, she kind of hides by just the confidence of it, where you form your own reality by making just you form your own reality by just like doing it and having everyone else be like, oh, okay, that's how they're moving, so it must be on the above board, right?
So, manifesting street travel.
Yes, exactly.
Brilliant. How about the other two of you? How are you traveling with Terry?
As a bodyguard, probably. I imagine I would fit very well looking like I'm just tagging along with the wealthy, brash person, because I am not very good at hiding. I am a spiky 2-meter tall mantis.
Okay.
So I will also behave like I belong, like I'm at ease, but as somebody of a somewhat lower station.
Okay. And Rel, how about you?
I think it's kind of similar, but maybe without some of the bravado. I think like Rel tends to move with that similar kind of purpose of just like, I belong here, and just kind of not really making a show of things. I think sometimes, because fecks aren't very common on Qadida, she does have like a hood, and sometimes if she does need to go much more stealth, then she will try and almost kind of change her body language to seem like a child, because she's so small, so that like people looking past wouldn't necessarily see like, oh, that's a small raccoon person, just be like, oh, that's a kid with like a hood up.
Or you have the big skirts that your tail can be like hidden in the back.
Yes.
Okay, so what I want you each to do is roll me, I'm going to say a charm roll, and you can choose the nature of this charm roll. So Leo, for your character, you might want to use charm intimidate, because you're kind of you're not trying to be sneaky, but you are like a tough guy, stay away from me kind of thing. What you're rolling here is sort of a preemptive, like what's your stance, like physically, how are you presenting yourself in terms of like, if someone's casing you to like maybe interact with you in some way, would they think to do that? So you can choose what kind of charm roll you're going to make. I would also accept a move sneak roll if you just want to try to be like sneaky, stay out of visibility.
Oh no, I am projecting a not to be trifled withness.
Okay.
All right, 7.
Did you say 7?
Huh?
Did you say 7?
Yes.
Okay, great. What about the other two?
I'm trying to decide which one to do, because my charm is D6, my move is D10, but my move is so complicated. So I have disadvantage on all non-dodge move rolls, but I also have +2.
I saw that.
So I think this is definitely not a woodland or a wetland. So I think I'm going to go for it's probably more of a risk, but it's a D10 over a D6. So I think I'm going to go for move sneak.
Okay.
Which will be, let me figure out what I'm actually rolling for this. So it's with disadvantage.
Mm-hmm. But you get a +2?
But with +2. Yeah, so 2d10.
That's not terrible.
And then whatever, and then we can just add the +2.
Yeah, I think that's probably more likely to roll than rolling a d6 would.
If it's in any way analogous to D20 math, it's probably a good shot, because advantage disadvantage on a D20 system is like +5 -5 about. So I would go with the D10.
Okay, so I take the lower of these, which is a 7, but I also get +2, so it's a 9. Right?
Okay, great. And
Pretty good.
Kelly, what about Terry?
Terry, this is her neighborhood. She's bopping along. And if Dice Maiden hates me like she normally does, we'll find out. An 8. Okay, she doesn't hate me right now. One time I rolled 3.
We should have made our
nat ones in a
offerings to the
row.
Dice Maiden first
Okay, awesome.
before we started.
So I'm going to have you roll a single D20 to describe your journey to get to your storehouse. But because you each rolled the way that you did, I'm going to give you +3 to the roll. This is a good thing.
Cool.
Okay,
So
Who
whoever
wants
wants to roll it.
I'll roll.
I'll go for it. Yeah, Kelly.
7 + 3, 10.
Hey.
Okay, great. So, okay. Oh, this is cool. So while you're walking to where Terry knows her storehouse, your kids playing in the street, maybe a couple street vendors, someone setting out clothes. So you would all know this, but I'll describe this for the audience. The way that plant matter, like this whole city is artificial. The rock that it's built, very dense, and soil above it is artificially laid, ported. All insects and
Make
wildlife. Ah, damn it. Okay, can you hear me now?
Really.
I don't know why it keeps doing this. Okay. The whole rock is like it's a very dense metal, so all soil has been imported, all vegetation and so there weren't bees or insects here before that. And so one of the ways that they pollinate the vegetation and flowers is with these small little orbs called and I'm not sure how to pronounce this. I think it's like Holm, HLN. They're sort of like kind of like yes, just like that. They're like autonomous little drones, but they serve the purpose of bees in terms of like pollinating things. So you've all seen them before, and as you're walking down, like a small pod of them kind of like zips past you, and they find engine, like the plant, who has the street watering some of their own plant. They try to pollinate the engine, and the engine kind of like swats at them, like with mosquitoes or bugs or something. It's just maybe just kind of like just Qadida things, kind of thing you'd put like your Qadida Tumblr, I guess. So otherwise, your journey towards your storehouse is on.
Excellent.
So Terry, tell us about this storehouse.
Yeah, it's it looks like a shelled out house. That's been boarded up. You would have to like really be looking close at it to realize that the boarding up is really good, and that you can't just break in there. Like in Baltimore, there's a bunch of houses that are just like absolutely trashed. But if you start to give it a second look, you're like, oh, this is trashed, but in an intentional way.
Okay.
So you might be able to get through one of the doors or through one of the windows, but then you can see that there's like I don't know, not just like rebar everywhere, but it's reinforced and you can't get in unless you know how to get in.
Okay. I switched mics.
I
Is this
think
any
it might
better?
be working.
Can you hear me okay?
Can you talk a bit more?
Yeah. Yeah, talking. Is it anything?
It's still a bit choppy, at least what I'm hearing. Yeah. Could it be did we already look at the Discord like volume capping thing?
Yeah.
I can't really think what else it would be.
It's weird because if it's cutting out for you all, that's a on this side of see.
Are there any comfy seats in your warehouse?
Oh yeah. The thing is, everything is plush. Everything is very comfortable. I don't know if I said this at the top, but the way that I refer to Terry is a creature of creature comforts. Like she keeps things. She moves goods from one side of Qadida to another, but she also keeps the best things for herself. So in addition to her like very fancy boots, she also has like this odd pile of velour tracksuit bottoms that have some strange like glittering stones on the seat of them. You have no idea what it says, but it's just in a design that, you know, looks pretty. You might even say juicy.
Damp.
No, juicy
Wet feeling
from these. She has like on her desk she has like a bottle of red varnish, and you can tell like she doesn't have nails, but she does paint the tips of her little bulby fingers, and you know she likes to make herself look pretty.
Okay. Is this any better? Can you hear me before I continue?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, the previous mic was like, it sounded a bit like you were in an aquarium. No, this one's a little better.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. If it continues to be a problem, I'll try a third mic. Just on the fly. Okay.
Right.
Okay, so Terry, what do you need from your storehouse? What kind of tricks do you have in here?
So the main trick that's in the storehouse is a safe place for us to talk about what to do.
Okay. What kind of measures do you have in place to make this safe?
So she absolutely has with her own counter surveillance, she has her own devices set up everywhere that feed straight into it's not a like cloud storage, but it goes direct to her so that she knows everything that's going on.
Got it.
And I know we haven't like discussed all of my kin, but I feel like there's a few street kids that she keeps on payroll, and she like gives them special treats or whatever, and she has them watching the house and making sure. Yeah.
I like it.
Cool.
Okay, cool. So, all right. So, what are you going to discuss then?
Kelly, that looks like you're about to say something.
Yeah. Okay. So, what I was thinking is, we definitely don't want to take this guy out on the day of the speech, because then it looks like it was because of the speech, and then it looks like he's going to become a martyr to the cause. So I think we want to do something quickly, and I think we want to do it quickly, but also make it look like some other faction did it. What do you guys think?
That is an interesting idea. Maybe get some extra scratch from the Jackeans by making it look like the Mafia did it. I look somewhat the part.
I think that makes a lot of sense. So Terry and Wilted Shriek Collector have done a lot of work for the Jackeans in the past, which is a Qadidan faction that does a lot of like goods running, and they are in opposition to the Waiton Mafia, who also do goods running. Just for the audience. And so making it look like it was the Waitons as opposed to us would be in our favor.
So how do you want to do this? Also, I should note, Terry, you would definitely know because of the kind of work that you do. There is a vendor town. I'll have to look. I'll have to find it. There's a vendor in town by basically spy tech, although
Doing it again.
oh damn it.
Although,
All right, keep going. I was just saying there's a vendor in town where you can get. It's not cheap though.
And we're low on cash.
Yeah.
we also don't know how we're even locating this person at this point, right? Like the
Exactly.
only location we have is when they're doing the speech.
I might have a way for that.
Cool. Yeah, I would just say I think like when I've done jobs like this before, we've usually, tailed and observed the person for a bit first to just get, an idea of where they go, what they do.
Okay.
So I guess that would be my standard operating procedure. And I'll say as well that I don't like to nail down exactly what the solution's going to be before I have more information about the target. So I don't want to say we're definitely going to eliminate this person versus other things until I have a little more information.
Okay.
I'm good. I'm good with that. So most of Terry's stuff is good for after the fact rather than in the planning stages of things.
Right.
What's your Wilted Street Collector? Yeah, what's your potential thing you were talking about doing?
You and I both, I think, have ways to find people. I have a blooder power called Scout that works within a certain kilometer range. It would be good to know how big Qadida is, more specifically Free Qadida, to make things a little better. It would be good to know the range of your stuff as well. In my case, I could burn some grit and send some of the blood to... where is it? Here. I can specify a target of some kind, a person, place, thing, and send my little helpers looking for it. If the target is within a radius of kilometer equal to my level, which would be 3, so we could narrow down where we're looking for the person before I activate this. my nanites can find them, and they can tell me where they are. I will know nothing else, like how they're doing, if they have friends or whatever. But I will be able to pinpoint their location if we figure out where we should be looking within a 3-kilometer radius.
I also don't know how I managed to forget this, but I have track. I was like, oh, how are we going to find them? I have track.
I was going to say,
I'm getting old. Forgot for a second.
I changed mics again. Can you hear me okay? Is this any better?
I can
Okay.
for now, yeah. Hopefully that's
Cool. All right.
better.
All right. Yeah, I was going to mention that you have track as a fact.
Look, I've lived a long life. I've had many jobs. I have many skills.
Yes.
Sometimes I forget about some of them.
I would say that because of the nature of how track works, because the city is divided by the span, I'm going to say that track, once you're on Free Qadida side, you can use track. On this side, I'm going to tell you anything you have tracking is going to lead you to the tram station.
It's just going to lead us to free Qadida, basically, and then the track ends there. That makes sense. Yeah, totally. Cool. And we know they're in Free Qadida.
Right.
Right. So we know we have to go there at the very least.
Yes. Okay.
Exciting. Okay. So I suppose then we have we basically need to go scout on that side, figure out what their situation is, and then potentially look at solutions, whether fatal or not. But I think, like getting an idea of their routines and stuff might be helpful for stealth ways of getting rid of them. Mm-hmm. So I guess, is there any prep work we want to do before we attempt to cross over into Free Qadida?
Yeah. So as people familiar with Qadida, you would know there's basically 3 ways to get from one side to the other. Safest way, safe as long as you have good papers, is to take the tram. That will put you directly in contact with both bureaucracies, so your stuff has to be really good to make it across. The next step in safety is to cross the span. Terry, you have done this before. You can tell the rest of the party what you know about that as far as safety goes. And then the third way is to actually leave the dome and then re-enter on the other side via an airlock. This is, it sounds trivial. You do need to find a way to have breathable atmosphere while you're outside of the dome, because the rest of the rock does not have an atmosphere. Also, you have to find, a way to get across and to get in and
What was the also before the last also, sorry?
Oh, sorry. You have to find an airlock and you have to move. I mean, I guess you could walk, but...
Right. You need a vehicle or something to get us there. Okay.
We do have some really good papers. Like all of us.
From a mysterious benefactor who we probably don't trust. But yeah. We do have good papers. I've heard, Terry, that you have crossed the span. How did that go?
Well, it went okay for me. I'm still here. And I think crossing the span would mean we don't have to use our real names, which I think is a big thing. Because if we use the tram, we're going as Rel and Terry, but Wilton Shriek Collector won't be that. What is your fake name? Toasty Mug Roller. Toasty Mug Roller will at least be,
Such a wholesome name for such a spiky goth.
Yeah, so...
I would probably change my appearance for that.
Yeah. So that is my one thing, is that if we cross the span ourselves, we won't have to... we'll still probably be, logged, and people will know notice us.
Mhm.
But if we use the tram, it's going to be bureaucratically noted, which if we don't want to collect anything back to the that would be good.
Yeah, can I ask, I guess as like a general knowledge thing, like would we know if, obviously if we take the tram over, it's a much more visible way of going over and it would be noted, they'd have literal records of like they entered at this time or whatever. But if there's going to be checkpoints on the other side as well, would that kind of nullify it at all? Like if we're going to have to use our actual papers at checkpoints or anything like on the other side anyway, would we know if there's still like a benefit to that?
If there's a benefit to what?
So we know if we got the tram, we definitely have to submit our papers on getting off the tram or to get on it or whatever. But it seems like there's checkpoints and stuff that aren't the tram across on the other side. If we were going to encounter those and then have to use our papers anyway, in which case be logged on their system or whatever, like, I guess in theoretically we could find ways around that, but is it like more notable, I guess, just getting the tram?
I would say prior to WSC getting these new papers, I would say it would have been a much bigger problem. But you all now have top quality papers. It shouldn't be as much of a problem. Is that the question you're asking?
I think so. I think I lost the thread of the question as I was saying it. But that's a good catch-all answer, though.
I mean, like, it's going, like, all the different methods are going to have their own risks. So, like, what kind of risk do you want to take on? Do you want a bureaucratic risk? Do you want a physical safety risk? Do you want an risk?
Well, where do you guys stand on having been gifted these beautiful, magical, potentially time bomb papers? Seems a shame not to use them, but I'm open to suggestions.
They're also valuable to just keep in the back pocket. My boy is well equipped for a physical altercation. I believe Rel also is. I don't know if I know we have at least one really charismatic person, a real charmer here. My charm isn't total garbage, but I would rather rely on snapping people's heads off than talking.
Wait, I have a question. Do we still have the briefcase? Yeah, we have Operation Briefcase that is available to us.
That would be fun. In talking to Aaron, like there's a possibility that the guys would try to inspect it, but if question to the Grim Venture manager.
Yes.
Would the fact that our papers are pristine make it so that they wouldn't necessarily want to check all our stuff, and if our papers were kind of shoddy, they would be more interested in checking out what looks on the surface like a normal briefcase, because otherwise, what would be the point of it?
I'm going to say that when you encounter that situation, it will depend on both what's the level of alert at the time, which, I mean, in Qadida varies day by day. There's still some amount of unrest that's just out of your control. If the alert is higher, you're likely to run into resistance on that. On a normal day, I would say you should expect probably like a charm roll or something similar. So if Terry can grease the palms on that, then you'd probably get a buy fine with the good papers that you have. Although, like, if you were, would you be hiding in the briefcase at the time, or would you just be carrying it?
Like, I would either be using my documents and just walking around, carrying it, or I could get in the briefcase. But I think if I have good docs, I don't have to, especially because I need to burn grit for every minute I spend folded up.
Yeah.
Right,
no,
right.
We don't want to do that.
Yeah, the horrible uncoiling of angular limbs has to wait.
Dang it. Back pocket, though, or briefcase pocket.
I would say with a sufficient charm roll, you can probably get by without having your stuff in your gear inspected. And because you have good documents, that's going to work in your favor. If you were hiding
But it
in
seems
the briefcase,
it's variable enough that we don't know for sure what it's going to be like on the day, basically.
and I'm not trying to be coy. There's just dice rolls that I need to do, and
Yeah.
and until you get to
Yeah.
that point, I'm not going to do them. So I'm just trying to outlay what you would. The only thing is if you were in the briefcase, someone would have to carry it. It's not going to. And effects and agility, I can only imagine what that will look like. Like, Squirtle.
We're just two business women doing business things.
I'm imagining like Squirtle and Rocket Raccoon like lugging along this like 200-pound briefcase.
Normal. It's normal.
The briefcase.
So normal, extremely normal. Nothing to see here.
We traded the briefcase recharging my grit for it being weirdly light, so that carrying me is a possibility.
You're right.
This is a bit that has been done before.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yes. The weight issue is
It feels like
resolved.
it feels like we're either going to be riding off of Terry's charm if we go the tram route, or will it treat collectors violence potentially if we go the span? Not that we necessarily know what we're going to encounter, right? I could go either way. Should we take a vote or something? I don't know.
Terry can provide insight about the span because Terry has crossed it many times.
I think if we're just doing a fact-finding mission, let's think about it this way. We might want to do the easily traced diplomatic route. And then if we need to come back, we can. So if we think about it as high level, if we go in on the tram, do our fact-finding, come back on the tram, then it will just show us as a in-out that's already documented. And then if we need to cross back over to do our covert mission, we should cross the span itself.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I'm good with that.
None of you are wanted or like in trouble with anything, and it's strictly illegal to cross on the tram. So you're not doing anything wrong yet.
Well, exactly. We want it to look squeaky clean so that when we do the illegal thing,
right,
we're above reproach.
The one thing to consider
is above reproach.
If you get caught doing something bad at any level, it will be assigned to the papers you came in on, and so it effectively burns your papers.
Right.
Like you would have to find a different way to go.
I have a question
but
about that.
While we've got the papers, we might as well use them like for the lower risk mission, essentially. Yeah, I think so. Right, let's get the tram then.
Question about papers.
Okay.
Are there different trams to go into Free Qadida with different checkpoints?
There is one tram. There are two stations. So if you look at the map, the one black line or gray line that bisects it, a segment in the middle, it begins at Dunyan Station and ends in Kenturis Station, over in the Collective Agora, which is deep in Free Qadida.
So I couldn't do same paper, two faces from different points. That makes it so that it's a good idea to use the papers now when they're at peak usefulness, because we haven't done anything gnarly yet. Yeah,
sure. I would say
garbage. I can try to help out.
If you were a non-free Qadidan, which all of your papers indicate you are not a free Qadidan, if you went in and you did it in the same day, they would know and they would be looking for you. I would just presume that if they weren't looking for you, I would say you got it incredibly lucky. It's that think like you have a tracking cookie. That's what your papers are. It's a tracking cookie. They're going to know all the places to go.
Of witnesses make the papers not become a problem.
Yeah. No, because when you pass through the tram, you're showing your papers both sides.
Yeah. But like, somebody has to know that it's us that did the thing for it to be written down somewhere. If we are in an enclosed space with the Mark and two other dudes, and we just wipe them all out, I don't think anybody can be like, those are the wrong papers.
I mean, there will probably. Well, I guess it depends on the situation and what surveillance is in place at the time. If you murdered someone in Terry's warehouse, you'd probably be fine. You just have to dispose of the body or have kids do it. Give them the body.
Very normal.
That sounds horrible, Aaron. Thank
Get
you.
the children to do it. Yeah, obviously.
The kids,
Cool
yeah.
and normal.
It's a Tuesday. But if over on Qadida though, like I said, just assume you're always being. The question isn't so much like analytics on the goings on of everything is always being collected. It's just like in a casino, right? You've always got the eye in the sky. You don't always have the pit boss watching your table specifically unless you raise attention to yourself. So long as you're not doing anything that draws attention to you, nobody will likely notice because there's just a lot of data. So they have to choose what they're going to focus on. If they happen to see you doing something bad, they will rewind the tape and they will find the whole thread of you coming over and they will piece that together. So there is that to consider. You have some level of anonymity. You don't.
Right.
Okay.
So
Does anyone want to do anything on this side before we go over?
Just one thing. I came in with an extra little square piece of luggage that I will go to. If you have a more dark space where I can go, I will open it up. I will put my little plant in there. I will water my little plant. And instead of going over to keep going, it's like I'm lost for a second as I just spend one entire minute being like this at the plant with a very unhealthy bend of my upper back. Good thing I don't have a spine. And then I snap out of staring at the plant, slack, jawsed, and follow you.
you have space to do that. Terry knows that you do weird plant things sometimes.
Yeah, I'm always carrying that specific plant around with me.
Excellent. So to the tram?
Yes. I need 2d10 to be rolled. This is going to determine what's the disposition of what's the feeling like on both sides of the tram. So someone want me 2d10.
I can do one.
Do that.
Okay.
Or do one each? Yeah.
Sure. I just need to know who is rolling for the Worshipful Qadida side and who's rolling for the Free Qadida side.
I'll do for Worshipful Qadida in that case.
All right. Free Qadida die.
All right. So Rel rolls a 10. Okay. And
8.
8. Okay. All right. So you heading up to Dunyan Station? Okay.
Yes.
So I'm gonna riff here a little bit. I don't have an actual official description, but when I imagine station, I imagine it to be similar to if you've ever been to like I think it's like with Union Square Station in DC, like the really big vaulted ceilings, like weirdly large. Like why does it need to be this high kind of ceiling? Because it's a tiny train, and then people are only 5 to 6 feet tall. But hugely high, a lot of echo and reverb in the room. Some like a whole lot of pro, like you would know it as intellectual, know it to be propaganda, but it doesn't specifically say like "Free Qadida sucks" or what. It's talking about like the glory of Worshipful Co. and how great it is to like how wonderful it is here in Worshipful Qadida. There's maybe just some like patriotic songs playing in the background. It's just very
Oh my god.
the propaganda is very subtle because like the Co is large and can afford to pay people to make good propaganda. Yes, those pictures exactly. That's exactly what I'm imagining. So it's a really well appointed station. There's also I think maybe the glam of everything being so well done maybe overshadows, like, on closer examination, there's a lot of security. There are guards. They're not standing in the middle like waving around big guns. They're off to the sides, but they're very nearby. All the humanoid weight and traffic is being kind of corralled into a narrow channel, which leads directly to the tram loading platform, and papers are being checked. It's kind of weird. Like you're in an environment that, if it weren't for the presentation of it, it might feel a little bit like precarious. But because of the presentation of all of it, it feels like safe. Safe. If
Is
you're
there
part of
anywhere
the-
to get food in the station?
Oh yeah, definitely. There's the designated like food area. It's sufficiently away, like I would say at least 100 meters or so away from the entry point for the tram platform. But yes, there's food here.
I definitely want to get some food. I don't care what it is, because I've just realized that I am playing a character finally who can eat. My current character is an ox in an empty exosuit, and every time there's food, I can't eat. So
Oh, tell
I'm
me what
getting
you
some
find.
food.
What are you getting?
You're like Alphonse in Full Metal. Just, I wish I could have the pie.
What do you find? What are you going to eat? What does Effects eat?
Oh man, I don't know. What do they have on Qadida? Like, what kinds of? Oh, there's refined protein. That's all I know that they eat on Qadida.
I'm going to say, in this moment, you happen to get to the station on the day when it's like International Food Day. There's all kinds of stuff here. So what do you want? What is
Okay, I
relevant?
want to say it's going to be some kind of like fried root vegetable, right? Like it's going to be like chips but weird, or fries but weird, with like, yeah, just like a bunch of like toppings and spices and stuff.
Okay, you find your well-attuned nose sniffs out a particular spice blend that just immediately calls to mind like your mom's cooking when you were a kid. Like this is very much like a Ratatouille moment when he has like the flashback.
Ratatouille,
Yeah,
Ratatouille.
Ratatouille.
This is a Ratatouille moment. And it's just like oh man, and you're just instantly, yes, exactly. Kelly, you and I today.
Yeah.
We're right
Same
there.
thing.
Totally do a Rakakuni with you grabbing onto my antennae. Just saying.
Yes.
So you find a small street cart, and it's like this sliced and fried. It's kind of similar to cattails, but like pithier. Like I don't know, whatever this is. This is something that like you definitely had as a kid, and the spice blend is like, it's not exactly right, but it's very close, and it is delightful.
Yeah, I don't even ask if they want anything. I just go and get 3 and I hand them out immediately, and I'm like, you guys have got to try this. It's from Cackadoon. My mom used to make it. You're gonna love it, presuming that you can eat it safely.
Imagine, well, I guess maybe you wouldn't have this experience because you're overseas, but in the US, like we have Mexican foods sold at like Mexican restaurants, and there's some that are like authentic Mexican food, and it's not exactly authentic. Like if you went to Mexico, it would be different, but there's like places where it's more authentic than other places, and this would be like that. Like this isn't.
Yeah, there's like an attempt being made,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Right.
yeah. Totally, yeah.
It feels like a very sincere attempt at making like legitimate Kakadune food. So yes, you're it's the tastes of the Jash here. You were delighted. What do you, Terry? What do you and what does WSC think about?
Oh, Terry loves it. Like, again, she loves food. She's all about it. It's part and parcel for like, this is just a tasty little morsel just for me. But in addition to the snacks that Rel gets us, Terry pulls out from another interior pocket this jar of like pink fireflies, and she just pops one of those in.
Mhm.
And it kind of makes her cheeks a little like flush a little pink. And it's not because it's partially because of the chemical reaction of the firefly, but it's also that it's lightly toxic to her. So, but she loves it anyway. So she's just like, "Ooh, it's just a little spicy."
It's like drinking alcohol. Like technically,
Exactly.
yeah, technically not good for you, but also
Right. Or like pineapple, where the enzyme is slowly eating hard at your cheeks.
Oh,
the Ouroboros of eating pineapple.
Eventually, this pineapple will eat me.
How about you, Leo? What does WSC think about this
Uh,
snack?
thank you. This is delightful. But he will grab each one individually with those ridiculously enormous clawed fingers that look like they're armor plated, and just one that holds it to the jaw and just holding them like this, one by one, making uncomfortable eye contact with people who stare. Are there people
Like it going into like a
have that
paper
tried-
shredder.
Yes. You mentioned that the place has security that is overshadowed by the splendor, but it's definitely heavily guarded. And what I'm thinking is that's a very good way to distract from plainclothes officers. So I'm looking for some. If I can just look around.
Yeah, sure. Let's see. I guess give me a well perceived.
Your audio cut off, I think.
Oh, sorry. Give me a will perceive roll.
Will is good actually.
Good.
I was looking at my 10.
10. Okay. Nice. I would say
You look so good.
you can definitely tell. Like, there's some dudes that are definitely. I don't know. I don't know if they're wearing like plain clothes. Like, you know, they've got the sunglasses on. They've got the.
They've got an earpiece.
Maybe they've got like the Punisher logo on their back or something. Who
Oh
knows?
no, it's like that. It's like that Tom Hardy music video about the businessman with a loaded pistol and a bulletproof vest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're really. I mean, you definitely gotta say that like, however many there are here, they all are. So if that becomes relevant, I'll bring it up again. But for right now, like nobody is observing you any more than they're observing.
Cool.
So do you want to head over to the checkpoint now that you've been sated by delicious?
I'm still nibbling mine, but yes.
Okay. So let's see. All right. I need a D4. Just a single D4.
I think Kelly should do it. I'm assuming she's helming this.
Let's do it. 3.
Okay. So the people at the checkpoint are a bit beefier.
Oh no.
They're not like, being more aggressive.
All
or
I heard was
anything.
a bit beefier. And then
All
nothing.
we heard was a bit beefier.
Oh, today. Fair. All right. The officers you see are a bit beefier than the officers you've been seeing elsewhere. Okay. They're not the ones doing the papers checking. They're just standing nearby watching the people getting their papers checked.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead and approach.
Again, just confidence, baby.
Yeah. I need each of you to roll me a charm roll individually, but because you have such good papers, you can roll it.
You can what?
I'm guessing you
roll-
said with advantage there.
I did say with advantage.
Wonderful.
All right.
Oh, we can boost as well. I always forget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
you
think
can.
I'm gonna
can
go 3
absolutely-
grit on this just in case.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I will as well.
3, 6, or 9 grit, you can boost your roll to +3, +6, or +9.
11.
Okay. How about the rest of you?
10, because I have a +1.
Brilliant. Okay. Yeah, you all, the papers checkpoint people are very.
Rachel, you can roll with advantage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just in case you
So-
like crit or something. Or I mean, in case that makes a difference.
Oh my god, there's so many roll things when you type it like that. So I'll just do the other d6 then.
Okay, so 8 it is then for you.
So, but just in case.
That was good call. In this case,
Yeah.
8 is enough. And the checkpoint people are all very polite, and they have minimal questions for you, and you're able to kind of smile, and they give you a very professional courtesy smile, not like they're not smizing, they're doing the opposite of smizing, like smiling with their mouth but not their eyes.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
standard customer service smile.
Exactly.
It
1,000
doesn't
yards there.
reach your soul. It's just dead behind the eyes.
Exactly.
I've never worked customer service before. It's fine.
They're just sitting there thinking about how much they love the Worshipful Company.
Makes good sense.
So the police that were standing nearby, they look at you intently, each of you, but they kind of just are taking their prompts from the checkpoint people, and there's no moves on you or anything. So you feel like you got through there okay.
Cool.
And you get to the tram platform, and it's just there aren't many people. This isn't like the PATH train in the city where it's just the commuters. There's just some folks going back and forth, and you can get on the train and take the train ride across.
Cool.
So the tram passes kind of over the span, and the span is roughly, I believe it's 3 kilometers wide. It's enough that it's not going to zip by even with them going at a fair clip, and it's just bizarre. There's a lot of empty space, but there's also trees in random places. Off in the distance, you can actually see half of what appears to be an old Toys R Us, but just half of it. And in the other direction, there's pools of lava and a very localized small storm. It's just chaos out there. There's just all kinds of weird shit happening. Capital W and case W. What would you like to do on the tram? The ride is going to be, I would say, probably a good 20. So you've got time to move around the tram if you would like. You're not required to be seatbelted or anything.
I feel like the tram is probably very heavily monitored, right? Or we feel very exposed right now, so I don't really want to do that much. Or I don't know if there's anything to do that wouldn't draw attention.
Yeah,
Other
I
than
would.
wiping my greasy little chip hands on my dress.
Greasy chip hands is a great. It's almost a great waiting name. Greasy chip hander.
A new punk band.
Are there a lot of people in it?
A handful. There's you aren't alone, but it's not crowded.
Mhm.
And
I-
everyone's kind of keeping themselves, but
I think part of Terry's facade is keeping conversation extremely light and moving, because she doesn't want to be too quiet, because that's noticeable, but she doesn't want to be talking about all of the important things. It's very important to keep it surface level and keep it absolutely nothing. Like, what are you doing? Okay. So that's kind of her thing, and her hustle is actually as an empath. So she would absolutely be listening mentally to all of the people around her, just to make sure they weren't focusing in on us.
everyone else around you is kind of doing the same thing you're doing. No one wants to say anything personal.
Yeah.
Like it's almost as if even talking about the weather might be too. It's the most. What this sounds like is it's almost as if you've ever been like in the introductory level class for learning a new language, it's like the kind of phrases you would hear in that class. Like, where's the library?
Right.
Shall we go to the discotheque?
Yes, exactly.
Is there a bathroom? Who knows?
So after
I'm
the
from Worshipful Qadida.
so the span is the first zone you kind of pass through, and following two additional like I'm going to say north south. There is effectively north here, but it's just on the map north. You're going to pass through the Haisha district and then the Wernen district. The Haisha district is it is fancy. Think like Lower Manhattan. These are not brutalist. These are buildings very well appointed. It's almost kind of weird how it is given what is like a relatively recent free state. Like kind of like when and how were these built? But it is it looks very different from the that you Terry, you obviously have seen this before. Because it's where when you cross the span, you immediately
You go from a weird hellscape into just like the nicest embassy buildings in DC, which honestly, DC itself, you go from like some weird sketchy buildings into just like the most beautiful like walled places.
that's legit, honestly. Yeah, it's a very good comparison.
Oops, it's too real.
So after that is the Warren district. That is spelled. Oh, so I'll put it in the chat here. So there's Halkia district. That's the one you just crossed, and then following that is the Warren district. And the Warren district is a bit more. It's kind of similar to the Fallen Quarter, but what the Fallen Quarter would be if it was just like a little bit nicer. It's kind of like more suburban feel to it. And it's also like a little bit longer. So this would be like in terms of like New York is one of you has probably been there before. But it would be like going from like Manhattan into like Queens or Brooklyn.
Gotcha.
Feels more like it's nice, but it's not like high rise. And then following that, you get into Agora, which is the counterpart to the administrative quarter. I think would be the best description for it. And the tram slows down and terminates, and you arrive at Cantorus Station. So you are now in Free Qadida. And so, is there anything you want to do before you step off the tram? Anything, preparations or anything else?
I want to ask a question. So, am I right in thinking? So, I one of my factions is Kabati, right, which are the people that like worship the dome builders and stuff. Does that, my understanding, that spans both sides, right? Presumably.
I'm gonna go with yeah. I'm gonna go with yes. I think.
Okay.
What is it you want to know about that? Like, what is the relevance?
Well, basically, I was thinking, again, because I'm a Fex, I do stand out a bit. And so I was thinking that might be another kind of like blending in thing that I do, which is like to maybe, I don't know what the like kind of physical adornments would be that like people would associate, but like whatever they are, I'm like, she has some earrings or like something that is like visibly kind of Kabati looking so that she looks more like that, like, oh, that kind of like, I guess like, hippie mom equivalent or whatever.
Kind of like making you look, I'm going to say less threatening, but maybe like less politically threatening.
Yeah, like something like recognizably Qadidan.
Sure.
I'm assuming that applies on both sides, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, so the Kabati faction is, for the listeners, a spiritual order that studies and worships the dome's original builders. The Worshipful Co. uses their devotion for research. The Kabati often have devotees in other factions. So I think that my read on this is that it's basically you're super fans of people that allow you to keep because of the stuff that they make, which is maybe a little bit like Silicon Valley super fans, you know, but more focused on survival. I'm not sure. Going off the cuff here. But yeah, I would say that the Kabati are going to be less threatening than one who's making a affirmative political stand. So yeah, noted.
Oh.
How about the rest of you?
I think Terry is again just keeping up her persona. And would one of my would I have a kin on this side of the span?
You tell me. You have a power, or you have a feature on your class that would give you an additional low kin. We already established what one of them was. Do you have one on this side?
I think it makes sense that I do, since I'm moving things from point A to point B.
Sure.
But
you don't have to tell me all the details now, just whatever you need for the moment.
I think for the moment, I just would be aware of, being on the lookout for someone if they so happen to be in this area.
Okay.
I don't think that they would ever really have a reason to be in the collective agora, but
Sure.
You know how sometimes you're just like in an area where like, oh, I could be on the lookout for Jeff.
Oh yeah, and Jeff will absolutely be there. Yeah,
Right.
100%. How do you know this person? Is this someone you know from smuggling stuff?
Yeah, this is just another smuggling contact who might be like a similar counterpart to what I have, so they likely have their own safe
Can you
house.
Please tell me the name of your smuggling contact on the Worshipful Qadida side.
Do we think that this is where AOL Trial Runner exists?
I think AOL Trial Runner was the Worshipful Qadida side where you just came from. So this is going to be a different person yet to be named.
To be named.
I just really wanted you to say AOL Trial Runner.
You did just want me to say that. I was so excited.
Okay, so what kind of, last question about this new contact, what kind of smuggling do they do?
So I think like I'm a goods and services person. This might be a like weapons or something that's not competing with mine that might be complementary.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna go to strings and get a name.
Sure. You can let me know the rest of the details later. That's all I need.
Cool.
Okay, and then WSC, do you have anything you want to do before you step off?
I will appropriately discard the packaging of the food I was given after wood chipping the final bit because I was going one by one by one. But as long as Terry is doing her thing, I can keep doing my thing. I'm trying to look not non-threatening, but politically non-threatening. I am just a grunt. I follow my person, I pay attention to my person and nothing else.
Some guy.
Okay. All right.
Where can you wait and
So when you step off the tram, there is an immediate it's the checkpoint is right there. Like if there's not even a platform, you are stepping off directly into the queue to go through checkpoint. Thankfully, much similar to what you came through on the Worshipful Qadida side, it appears to be pretty calm. There doesn't appear to be any more tension than normal. You rolled for this previously, is what. So it's just a standard thing, just like before. I'm going to need all three of you to make me charm roll as you're passing through, and I need you each to answer 2 questions for me. One of them out of character. Are you going in as a group or are you going individually? Second question, you'll be asked in character, what's your business here?
well, for my thing to work, I need Terry, so there's that. And I think it reinforces her thing if she has a grunt trailing her.
Okay. Yeah, I think
Okay.
that makes sense. And then wait.
Sorry, so we're doing a charm roll. This isn't with advantage, though.
This
Regular.
I'm going to say this is because you're going into what effectively foreign territory and your papers are from Worshipful Qadida. I'm going to say you don't get advantage, but you also don't get disadvantage. It's just straight roll.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Should I boost on this?
I think I'm gonna burn 3 grit.
Okay. Yeah, burn that grit.
I already burned grit, and I don't know that I needed it, so I'm loath to burn more, but I also only have a d6, so 13!
Nice.
All right. 10
10? Okay.
with burnt grit.
Okay. In addition to the charm roll, I also need you to answer, what is your business here?
Bodyguard of this one.
Yeah. So what would tourism be something that would normally happen?
Like just visiting or like wanting to buy something over on this side?
Yeah.
Sure.
Because I think it's trying to do the inoffensive. Oh, I'm just here to check out the like the International Food Festival on the free Qadidan side of things.
Is there an international food festival? Oh, right, because of right. That's something I mentioned earlier. Yes, that is absolutely happening here. Of course.
Nice.
Yes. Well played, player. Well
Thank
played.
you. You gave me this.
Yes. Learned this by watching you.
I did.
Fabulous. Okay. And I see. Looks like Rel rolled a 7 for the charm roll. Is that right? Okay. So the you tell the agent that, and they say like, we are only using regettes here for local currency, so please see the exchange booth over there. And they point off to the side, and you see there's like a counter over there. I say next, please. So you and also WC are pass through. Okay, Rel, same question.
So Rel is going to say that she is here as a member of, like, I guess, I don't know if there's a specific organization, but like if there's not, then she'll make one up, like the Kabati Society, and
Okay.
they're like pulling resources because there's been some new kind of artifact that like now we're looking into research that may like help us learn stuff about the dome builders, and there's like a society, there's a meeting here basically that I'm coming over for.
Okay, so you're lying, is what you're telling me.
Yes.
Okay.
Are we all lying?
Technically Terry was also lying, but I'm gonna give Terry a pass because her thing is something that actually exists in game because me and my big mouth. So your thing, you're gonna have to roll me a charm persuasion roll here, or charm deceive, however you want to do it. Holy State pilgrimage. Yeah. Okay. I mean, you are a Kabadi, so like this isn't going to be like a difficult check, but
okay. I'm just seeing if there's anything I have that feeds into this or that I could use before I roll.
This is one of the situations where like at the border, it's not so much the content that we're looking at, it's how you present it, and so the charm roll is going to determine like, are you presenting this confidently, or are you presenting this as like you're not even sure if you believe yourself? How confident are you in yourself?
Cool. I'm taking it that no one that I'm speaking to looks like they're overtly religious.
You can't tell. They're all wearing like their formal garb, which is very. I don't know if we've formally established it's like olive drab, but I keep picturing it that way in my head.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't think I've got anything to add to this. So, and I can't just keep burning grit. So I'm going to just do this straight. I know, but like I've already. But I mind not having any grit.
You do know that Terry does keep Thinky Boost in her pockets. So
I might have a way to replenish that.
Some drugs.
Yeah.
Just some light drugs.
And
the line really takes out of me.
I think.
Okay. Okay, right. I'm gonna well, because I needed it last time, right? Yeah, so okay, I'm gonna boost this as well.
Okay.
Here we go. So it's gonna be 1d6 plus.
I want you to make this, but I also don't want you to make it. Okay. So the checkpoint person, they don't have a very expressive face anyways. I think it's part of their but they say like, oh, okay, that's nice. And then they say like, next please, and they pass you on. And you're directed to just continue on in the forward direction, leaving the room.
Cool.
Okay, so you are in Kintara Station, which is it's. I think it was described to me as being a little bit more like a former like storehouse warehouse, but it also has like government buildings built onto it. So I guess this would be maybe also similar to like a station kind of situation. I don't know. Oh, is it 00 as in like in 40 minutes? Do you mean? Okay. I guess that's all up to y'all. I have flexibility on time. I think we're approaching a good stopping point though. So if we do have to end then we can. So this is the place where that speech is going to happen in 2 days. You're in that building. It's not you're not in the room where it's going to happen, but it's in this building.
Got it.
Would we have any idea of where a convenient place for our mark to, go get prepared, maybe powder up their chitinous plates and stuff would be like their green room?
You're asking if you have any idea where you might find Yellow Tent Shaver or something, so where he's at? Is that what you're asking?
Like on the date, yeah.
Yeah, on the date. Like
where
we would ideally like to avoid that, but knowing where they would be before the speech is maybe a good excuse to plant a certain briefcase there.
I think that you can either search for it, like if you want to make a reason roll and try to figure it out on your own, or you can ask around and try to gather information to see if someone can direct you to where it would be.
That sounds conspicuous.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yes, it
have
does.
good reason, so I could give that a shot.
Okay.
I think option.
Also,
'cause I think I'm also. Sorry.
this is important. I need to know: did you group back together, or are you continuing to be apart? Like you came
I
through
think
with
we're
2 and
continuing
1.
to be apart.
Okay.
Yeah, we're continuing to be apart until we're out.
We have walkies. I could ask you to use your better thinking and attentiveness to locate this thing.
Yeah, but I
Because
think I
I'm trying to
also am
look-
thinking about.
Okay.
I also want to kind of do a little, I guess, a little scan and see if there's anything relevant to me, because I am thinking that, well, I've obviously got sabotage, and so I'm looking for, like, is there anything that might be valuable or useful to sabotage? Like, do I want to try and stop the tram at some point? Would that be useful for anything? So I'm kind of like scoping the place out generally, I think,
Okay.
as we're walking through.
Sure.
Um,
Tell me if there's anything specific you want to know. I'll keep that in mind when I'm describing things, though.
Okay. Yeah, so I want to keep an eye out for, I guess, any visible tech and what it might do.
Okay.
And like Collector is saying, like somewhere, like any like offices or like, you know, kind of back rooms or anything like that where it looks like, you know, people might, where staff would be or would be used as like a pre-speech space.
Sure. Okay. So tech-wise, you definitely see, just because you're looking around, there's cameras. There's like observation surveillance devices. You are being 100% watched. And those are just the ones you see.
Mm-hmm.
As far as other places, are you looking for signs? Are you like looking for trying to see where people are walking? The crowd in general is like funneling off mostly in one direction.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm looking out for signs and doors,
Okay. So there's
what's like where those doors seem to go, or if they are labeled or anything like that.
sure. The crowd, it's not a huge crowd, but the people that are here, the majority of them are going off in one direction out of one exit. We'll say it's to the north, and then there's another exit to the south that you could also go through, and there's fewer people going through that one.
Okay.
Pirate door.
Sorry.
So, all right, what I need to know is, so the pair of you, are you going to mill about in this room, or are you going to go through one of the doors? And then Rel, same thing for you.
I'm gonna follow the crowd and go out. Is it the north door that most
Okay.
people are going in?
Sure. The popular door, the one all the cool kids
Yeah.
go through. Okay.
The sexy door.
How about the two of you?
I think we're ambling towards the north.
Okay.
Is there any sort of like park nearby?
That's a fantastic question. Sure. Not indoors, but yes.
No,
Yeah.
not indoors. But I'm thinking like we're ambling, we're taking our time, but eventually we're going to use our walkies, signal to Rel, and find a good meetup spot. And I feel like I would know a decent meetup spot. Maybe not in the collective agora itself, but somewhere.
Gelasti be like, I know a good spot, and then you end up in the water.
A swamp. Yeah.
I know a good pond.
I want to correct what I said earlier. It's the south door that most people are going through, not.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. So you're all heading out through the south door area?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So separately, you kind of go with the large, like the throng of people heading, and you amble out, and you're in Free Qadida. You're kind of at the edge, southern edge of the Collective Agora district. There's a variety. They're technically administrative buildings, but they really just look like regular buildings that have been repurposed into administrative buildings.
What are administrative buildings if not buildings?
Like buildings used for administration, but like if you go like to DC, building in DC, or like in the Capitol, they look like administrative buildings, like they have that seriousness about them. Whereas like a normal building would be like, this used to be a warehouse and now it's like an office.
The apartments.
Yeah, exactly. This is formerly a barn and now it's a church, like that kind of thing. It's been repurposed.
I think this is maybe a cultural difference because I don't think that really translates for Scotland because we have lots of old weird buildings that have been repurposed into other
Fair.
things, but I get what you mean.
Yeah, fair. I guess I don't know what the equivalent would be in Scotland. I guess an old building that is now like a McDonald's.
That one is still quite weird, yeah.
Perfect.
So all right, where would you like to go from here? Or what are you looking for, I guess?
A nondescript location where we can meet back up.
Like to group together?
Yeah.
You said like a park or something. Yeah, there's a park nearby, sure. This is a common point of egress. There's going to be a park nearby.
Oh, or the actual like International Food Festival, since that's where I said we were going.
Yeah, we
So
just
it's
go and get the exact same thing on the other
Yeah.
side as well.
It's a perfect meetup spot because we said that we were going there. So one, it keeps that through line consistent, and two, Rel, has there's a reason for her to be there.
Okay.
And
It's probably busy.
It's busy. You can brush up against all sorts of people. It's the perfect plan.
Okay, so are you going to ask where that is?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Throw me a charm roll.
Super.
Okay.
5.
Yeah. Okay. You ask someone about the International Food Festival, and they kind of like give you a look, and then like because they saw you walk out of the building, and they point like it's back in there, like dummy. What are you thinking? Yeah.
Dang it. Okay. You are
See that there was a festival going when we were in there?
Sorry, Leo.
That festival sounds like something we would have noticed when we were in the building.
right.
Nope. Nobody asked about it when you were in the building.
You're right.
No, like smell of food all around.
Okay, so
Right.
I do need to know, Rel, are you going back into the building? Are you going to double back, or do you want to use your track power?
Our walkie-talkies are not like stealth, right? They're not like earpieces. So if we like are talking through them, it's going to be visible, right?
You tell
I
me.
take it.
Like
I don't know.
what kind of
What kind of tech do we have?
yeah.
I mean, obviously, ideally, if there were just like very discreet earpieces or something, then that would be ideal because I could just.
I tell you what, a handheld walkie-talkie with a physical antenna is going to have a longer range, but it will be less discreet. So,
Right.
if you want to have longer range, then I'm going to say it's the handheld kind, and if you want to have more discretion, then you can have the shorter range. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys think? I feel like the short range but discreet might be more useful.
I would agree.
Yeah.
We're not going to be spreading thin to try to cast a wide net or anything. We're trying to pinpoint a dude and stick together.
Okay.
Yeah, discreetly. Yeah.
Okay. So you want the in earpiece kind. Got it. Okay.
Yes.
I don't
So-
think I have ears.
Whatever.
It's a
Tape it to the
thing
side of
that
your head.
vibrates somewhere in my exoskeleton, close to my antennae.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm wondering how the hell do insects hear things?
So, Rachel, I'm going to say that if you want to use track, it's going to be 5 grit. I'm going to count this as a difficult target, not because they're actively hiding from you specifically, but because of the surveillance state, they're going to be somewhat paranoid and going to hide their tracks anyways, just habitually. So I'm going to call it a 5 grit difficult target. So
Yeah, I think that makes sense given that I also don't know Free Qadida. Like,
sure.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Right, okay, I need to see how this works. So I just need to burn that grit, and then is it a reason check?
That's correct.
Okay.
And I believe it'd just be a standard.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to burn that 5 grit and just make a note of that. I'm already down to 10, you guys.
I'll give you some boost.
And then my reason is a d12.
Mhm.
And I don't think I'm adding anything to this that I can think of. No. Okay.
Oh.
Nice. Okay. I have intel for you that I will share with you in just a moment. We're going to come to you. Terry and WSC, you're heading back into the building? You don't know what Rel just found.
Right. No, I think we are just going to head back into the building and make a show of being in there.
Sure. Okay. Okay. So you go back in. I'm assuming you go through the north door this time.
Probably.
Sure.
Okay. So as soon as you pass the door, you instantly smell food. Like you're definitely in the right general area. You don't see the food yet, but you know you're in the right zone. There's this. It's not an intersection exactly, but several other hallways that pass off from here. You off in the distance, you see signs for the International Food Festival. Just before it, though, to the left, you see like kind of a generic sign for. It says like auditorium, or like amphitheater, like that kind of thing. It's clearly a place where presentations happen.
Okay. I'm just gonna jot that down.
Okay. So I mean the doors to it are open presently. There's no one in there. But do you want to like look into it as you're passing by?
Yeah. I think doing a not a scouting look, but just I'm gonna poke my head in here, look and see what's happening.
Okay. There's no one in there. There's no guards posted outside the door or anything. You peek in. There's a main stage area. You see a podium on the stage, kind of on a raised dais down there, and there is many seats. Like this is clearly a place where if someone had an important to make, they might give it here. Government figure, whatever.
Cool.
I'm not saying anything. Yeah. It appears to be it's empty though. There's no one in there right now, other than you can see in the distance like there's maybe a couple of guards just doing like everyday routine security sweeps. And the second set of doors, maybe 20-30 meters past it, is for the same room. It's just really large. There's 2 entrances.
Okay.
And then past that is where the food festival across the hallway kind of begins.
I think Terry would turn to WC and be like, "Oh well, would you look at that? This is just such a nice little. That's just such a nice little thing. Oh, we should see if we could come to the thing on 2 days from now, and looks interesting."
That would be interesting. Yes. Many delectable smells coming in through my legs. I'm checking something about the hold tricks power to see if there is a way to get some intel on the auditorium location, because that sounds like the more likely place for Mark to show up later.
Sure.
Let's see, once per session.
While you're looking at that, could I ask, like, when we give our papers to come across, is there any kind of time limit on that? Like, do we need like a visa or anything, or is it just basically now we're here, we can be here as long as we like?
Oh,
be here for days.
I would say I don't out of character. I don't know the official rules on this. I'll have to check with Ian. I'm gonna just in the moment. I'm gonna say that the longer you stay here, the more likely you will have someone checking in on you.
Right. Okay.
So you stay over here overnight. If you leave today, no problems at all. You stay overnight, it's probably fine if you don't raise any alerts. But like you're here for a week, someone's gonna touch base with you, whether you know or not they're touching base with you.
Cool. Yeah, that makes sense.
I would like to do the thing I can do once per session, which is hold tricks, and I will get a weird little thing that looks like a metallic sphere with a variety of buttons, like it could have been a controller for something, a controller for a device built for creatures who have at least twice as many fingers as I do.
Sure.
But I can press some bits kind of within my little code thingy, and it will help me find ways into the backstage portion of the auditorium.
Okay.
And I would like to figure out if there are ways that are not really physically traversable for most people, but could be traversed by getting very tiny.
Yes. Okay. Two non-standard points of ingress into this room. One of them is I'm gonna go tropey here. I'm gonna say there's an air duct.
Alrighty.
This is a repurposed old building. It's gonna have like I would say a Jawasti could definitely fit into it. You in your form could probably fit into there easily enough. And then there's also a private entrance that would take you back to like prep area kind of situation. That one you can see it further down the hall. It is guarded.
It is guarded. What do the guards look like?
There's a guard. They're armed and they're standing guard.
Do they look like a particularly gnarly sort of person?
No.
Or okay.
They're different than the Worshipful Qadida police, but I would say comparable to like one of the regular police. Not the ones you saw at the checkpoint, but the ones you would see on the street.
All right.
Less beefy, more normal police.
Yes.
Yeah, a bit of a communication through our little earpieces. Are we in range with Rel also? Because I would like to let them know.
I need to know, just tell me right now, what is the range of your walkie-talkies in kilometers? You can pick a number from 1 to 5.
I think the original writing is like it's multiplied by the number of people.
The range
so that would make it 3 kilometers.
I'm in terms of like discretion. Is it 3 kilometers standard? Okay, then 1 to 3. So the shorter the range, the more of a bonus I'll give you when you're trying to communicate discreetly.
Turns out mine goes on my in one of my sleeves because I hear through spiracles. So
excellent.
Rispies.
So maybe like, since we do want them to be discreet, maybe like 2 is our max.
Okay, that works. Okay, so I just need to know right now, what is WSC going to do And Terry, what are you doing?
I would just like to communicate that I could potentially impersonate that one
Okay.
if he is absconded with.
So
They.
Copy.
Terry is just like doesn't have her finger on the button, so she is like not talking to anyone, but she is just like quietly chattering and acting like the, you know, grandma who is a tourist.
Okay,
So
perfect.
she's saying, wow, would you look at these columns? These columns are really, oh my god.
Totally having a normal one here.
So normal. You guys ever just be normal?
Okay, we're gonna switch back over to Rel. Okay, Rel, you got a good lock on, like, I wouldn't say you have like a pin drop on your map or whatever, but like you have a very strong scent, for lack of a better word, of where you think you can find WTS.
Cool.
YTF.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, as well, discreetly talk into my walkie-talkie to both of my fellow associates, and just say, I think I've got a lock. Like, let's all head in that direction, and then give them general directions so that we can kind of converge as we're heading there.
So your gut tells you that YTS is somewhere in the northern half of the Warning District. So just really like west northwest of where you're right now. But with Terry and WSC being in this building, they would need to kind of like leave where you left initially and then follow you. So they can't converge with you so much as they can catch up with you if you want to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
All right.
Are you going off to go hunting for him now?
Like, presuming that I'm not going to like lose the trail or something, yes, but I'll go like slowly to give them time to catch up with me, if that makes sense. But not so slow that I'm going to like lose the trail, if that's a thing that I need to worry about.
No, as far as I'm concerned, like you've executed track beautifully, and you, as long as you're acting on it today, you're good.
Cool.
The speed at which you do it is not relevant here.
Yeah, I don't entirely know how my track works or what the kind of like head canon is for that, because it's affects species power. Presumably it is just my nose. I don't know how I would know how he smells. I'm like, that smells like a charismatic bug. I know his type.
I think probably I don't know, maybe you overheard something or you caught wind of something. I'm not sure what it is. You just kind of just know.
Yeah.
You're
just got the
like,
intuition.
Yeah. It's an intuitive thing. And you know the general direction and you just kind of feel it. And you know from experience that as you're traveling along this path, you'll encounter more things that will kind of guide you towards it, like funneling in. So what I need to know is how far, like you're moving forwards slowly. How far away are you getting? Like how much in advance? I'm only asking because I need to know, like, are you going to be in range of the walkie-talkies, or
I would be purposefully staying in range of the walkie-talkies.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, are you good with just saying you're moving in that general direction?
Yeah.
Okay. I need you to make me a will perceive roll.
Okay. I am not good at this, and I'm linking up with my friends who are good at looking at things. But I will give it a shot. Okay.
Okay. So, you go under the tram underpass, and you're passing into the Warren District, and you're heading like northwest. And you hear something behind you. and you see a couple people. They don't look like the police that you saw in the station at the checkpoint, but there's not really anyone else around you on the street. You are still within range. Like your comms are still greenlit, whatever. They're active. But I think given the barren street, everything around you, you're being pursued.
Okay.
So noticing this, what do you want to do with that?
Yeah. I know what I want to do, but I'm just trying to figure out if there's a way to do it discreetly because I'm on my own. So if I'm talking aloud, it's gonna seem maybe a bit weird. I'm just gonna, under my breath, say, I always feel like, and then I'm gonna say something completely innocuous, like, I always get lost in this part of the city, but I want to say that like that's our kind of code word for I'm being followed. So they should know that if I say I always feel like, then yeah, there's someone tracking us.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm good with you discreetly communicating that to the other two. It's fine. I need you to roll. Let's see. Are you trying to be evasive or like get away from your tail? Lowercase t tail, not your actual tail.
Yeah. That's going to be a thing this entire time. I'm trying to decide because I've got Shake a Tail, right? So I could lose them. But I also am a very inquisitive person. So I kind of want to almost know who it is or learn some information maybe before losing them.
You do know that we are following behind, so we might be able to tail the tail.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. That's wild. The way that we set
probably got the communication while browsing things and just I think Darasanian algae porridge can wait.
Yes. You're right.
Yeah,
it might be time
I want to discreetly, again, talk into the walkie and say, see what you can learn. I'm going to lose them. And then I'm going to use Shake a Tail.
Okay. So spend the grit.
So that's going to be 4 grit. I am just spending this willy-nilly.
I love it.
Yeah. I am tired. I'm a tired old lady from all of this. Burn 4 grit and duck out of sight. Anyone following you must make a standard 6+ will perceive check to locate you. And then more happens after that.
Okay, so I need you to roll a d6. And this is a cool thing that Ian came up with for the Qadida setting called chase counters. This is going to determine how difficult you are to follow. And this is separate from Shake a Tail. This is like okay. Somebody just rolled.
Yeah, 4.
Okay, 4.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, so they're going to have to make a standard will perceive check to locate you. Okay. I'm going to use here. Okay, there we go. Right. All right, I'm going to roll twice, once for each of them because there's 2 people following you. Okay.
Ouch.
Also, you're right after you said I'm gonna take this tail. Your comms kind of stopped working. Like they just kind of went staticky.
Oh.
Okay. Cool.
So they are kind of ducked around a corner, and I wouldn't say you thought you were safe. You're kind of like watching behind you, and you're maybe just past like some trash cans. Your small figures working for you here, but they found the corner you went behind, and they're still in pursuit. What are you going to do now?
Okay, so my shake a tail was unsuccessful.
No, it was successful, except, well, I guess they were successfully like found. Well, one of them rolled.
Yeah, so they successfully countered it. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So this area that I'm in, like, what kind of streets am I walking down? Are there like shops and vendors that I can be like, like looking at things, or is it just like all kind of like closed off to me? Like, do I have options to? Yeah.
I would call this off street. Like, if you could imagine a city where you might have a few streets that are like a lot of shops and vendors, like the next block over is more residentially. Maybe there's like an occasional bodega or something, but mostly it's like apartment buildings and such. It's that kind of street.
Mm-hmm.
Are you looking for open buildings you can steal?
Sorry, what was
Are
that?
you looking for like an open building you can steal into? You can like sneak into?
Well, initially I was looking for like, are there, shops and things that I could look like I'm browsing and stuff. But given that there's not, then maybe I don't know. Right. At this point, I don't know. My comm has went off, or not comm, my walkie is gone off. So I don't know where my teammates are, if they're behind, or what the situation is. As far as I know, I could be alone.
Okay.
Right?
Right. Okay, so would you like to attempt like away like stealthily, or do you want to try to like break into a building or climb something? Or do you want to just confront them? I mean, that's okay. Or wait for them. I guess you could also do that. Like, you could choose not to escape. You don't have to try to escape.
Okay. I want to. Okay, would it be possible to? Let me know if this makes sense. Would it be possible to try and loop back around, like having them still follow me, to try and like reconvene?
Oh, back where you started?
My team.
Yeah, sure. You can like try to escape by like started. Sure.
Even if they're still following me, but then at least we're all together.
Sure.
So that I'm not trying to take them on alone potentially.
Yeah, that's fine. So I do, if you're trying to outpace them, so we can get an idea of how quickly you're moving. If you want to flee, it's double move times 10 meters around. You have a little bit of a distance on them already. All right. So are you attempting to just like flee outright, or do you want to try to like sneak? I just need to know which one you're gonna roll.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to run outright because I feel like that's going to draw even more attention.
Okay.
So I'm just moving in that direction, like as fast as I can go without like, breaking out into a run or something, while still seeming like normal, I guess.
Okay.
Probably
Sure.
not that
Sure.
fast, unfortunately.
Okay. So I'm gonna imagine you're kind of like, you make a left turn and then you're gonna make another left turn later on, straight, and that's gonna basically put you back in the direction where. Okay. So are you continuing to watch behind you to see if they're following you?
Yes.
Okay. After you make the second left turn heading back the direction you came in, When you look back behind you, you see around the turn, you see one of the two is following.
One of the two has what? Sorry.
One of the two is following you, but you only see one of them.
Right. I'm not both. Okay. Oh no. Oh no.
Can I interject?
Yeah, go ahead, Leo.
If she is decently close to us and we're trying to limit a place, could Terry and I try to position ourselves so that the dude giving chase might, say, run into us, barge into us, or something similar? Because if I'm a grunt and a dude kind of trundles all over the person I'm guarding, I have a good reason to stop him and not be particularly friendly and still not look like a political issue.
Sure. I think if she can get a little bit closer, then yes. Not quite out of the woods yet, so to speak. So, Rel, do you have?
Okay, I
Shake a tail again.
am going to. I was gonna. Okay, I'm gonna break into like a jog.
Okay.
And I'm gonna like very like White Rabbit from Alice in Wonderland. I'm gonna like pull out some kind of timepiece and be like, "Oh no, I'm late," and start like actually running in the direction that I think my friends are.
Okay. I need you to make me a will perceive roll.
Okay.
Okay. That's good. So you're passing, you're heading, you can see the underpass so you came in initially. You're like a block over from it, but you can see like where you came in. And out of the corner of your eye, you happen, as you're passing an alley, you see one of the two humanoids that was chasing you is right in the alley, and it was waiting for you and is going to attempt to grapple you. So I need you to make a move dodge roll.
Okay. Right, this is where my complicated movement comes into play. So I have +2 on all move checks except for dodge and thingy, and then disadvantage doesn't apply to dodge either. So this is just a straight roll, I'm pretty sure. Okay.
Well,
oh, that's the one. Okay. My movements are very. I'm good at moving sometimes, but because I'm old, they're very high risk, right? So sometimes I move and I just put something out of joint, and it just goes real bad.
I think maybe glancing over and seeing the person startled you, and you like walked into a trash can or something. Either way, they apprehended you, and I think the timing is perfect because we should there.
Does this happen within earshot or within line of sight of us? Because we were kind of power walking in the direction we're hoping to find her, and if did her comms get back in range?
So her comms are being jammed right now, which is why.
All right. I thought you had exited the range. Okay.
Yeah, she was being actively jammed, and you are, if you are heading in her direction, I'm gonna say you're still a little ways out. When we resume next time, I will let you attempt to try to track her.
No. Top 10 anime betrayals.
You're gonna have to. You have to find where she went or where she was taken. But that's where we'll start next time, though.
All right.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. White said to end on a cliffhanger. I think this was perfect. So thank you, Rachel. That was. As soon as you wanted to go off and track him on your own, it's like, oh, here we go.
I'm a fool.
More teams, 2 teams into many little teams. Yeah, thanks everybody, and we'll be back June 1st at 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And this group, we do need to pick another time, so please jump in the chat and we can talk about that soon, and we'll publicize that. But thanks everyone for watching. We'll put this up on YouTube, and we will find out what happens next time in this saga of Yellow Tent Shavers' dual easing policy and you nasty, filthy possible assassinators from the company. All right, thanks everyone.
Yeah. Thank you all.
Thanks.
And all for,
Bye.
Bye.